Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Power Lunch Live. My name is Andrea Swedan from Altitude Connections. It's such a pleasure to have all of you tuning in today. I'm thrilled to introduce you to our special guest for today's podcast, Lisa Brookman. For over 20 years, Lisa has devoted her career to helping people find their strength, heal from life challenges, and reconnect with their senses and of purpose of their inner peace. As a psychotherapist and co-director of the West Island Therapy and Wellness Center, Lisa works with individuals, couples, and groups across Canada, both in person and virtually, offering a safe, supportive space for them to explore their emotions, build resilience, and grow. Lisa's compassionate approaches guides her clients through life's many challenges, whether they're navigating anxiety, depression, infertility, postpartum struggles, parenting challenges, marriage conflicts, grief, or major life transitions. She is especially passionate about helping people nurture self compassion and self worth, empowering them to listen to their inner voice, trust their intuition, and embrace them fully. With her certification as a menopause mental health provider, Lisa also offers specialized support for women navigating the emotional and physical changes of midlife. At home, Lisa finds her greatest joy in her family. She's a proud wife, mother of three incredible young adults, and a dog mom to her trio of furry companions. Lisa's warmth and authenticity and unwavering belief in the power of self love shine through everything she does. She is dedicated to helping her clients and her community remember the simple truth: you are worth it. Welcome, Lisa.
Honestly, first of all, hearing you speak that is so lovely, and it's part of my bio, but often we forget the work that we do. So thank you
That's
for
right.
sharing all that. That's very lovely.
No, you're welcome. I am intrigued in what you do. I mean, it's not just a therapist, you're way more than that. And I know you've dedicated over 20 years in helping people heal and grow. So, what inspired you to become a psychotherapist?
So I definitely think that being in the helping profession is kind of in my blood. I have many generations, starting from my great grandfather, who was in working in mental health over 100 years ago, and
Mm-hmm.
I just felt very compelled to give back. I studied at McGill. I did a bachelor's of social work and then a master's of social work, and becoming a psychotherapist was something that was very dear to me because I was noticing that there was a lot of people who were really struggling with their mental health.
Right.
And 20 years ago, we weren't really even talking about mental health and wellness.
No,
So, it felt like a natural step forward to open up our private practice and to really dedicate our professional and our personal life to making sure that people don't struggle in silence.
absolutely. That's wonderful. That's great that you're impacting all your community for that. I know you say you work with individuals, couples, and groups. What are some of the most common struggles people bring to therapy?
So, it's interesting. I work with both men and women. I work with, I would say, probably a 25-year-old and older. That's kind of my niche.
Okay.
And I would say most often people are struggling with, feeling very stuck, not sure how to navigate, being very hard on themselves, a lot of burnout, a lot of, not practicing self-love, a lot of negative self-talk. That's really been a lot of the clientele that I seem to attract to working with me. And, it's kind of like putting the pieces of a puzzle together.
Mm-hmm.
As you work with people and you give them strategies and they learn tools and they learn how to navigate, eventually you see this beautiful picture, which is their life. And often they don't see that early on,
That's
but
true.
through therapy and the therapeutic process, you can kind of move towards that.
So you help them see the better picture of themselves.
Listen, that's my goal. Not
Oh,
always are people able to or in the frame of mind, but absolutely that's what I strive for.
good, good. And that's why your slogan is "You are worth it," right?
Everyone has to remember, and we're all guilty of not remembering and putting ourselves last and forgetting.
Mm-hmm.
But if we can kind of just even implement a mantra like that in our daily life, the affirmations of knowing we're worth it, something just that shift of mindset really helps us to realize that we are that important to be worthy of getting the support we need.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, as a co-director of the West Island Therapy and Wellness Center, how have you seen the conversation around mental health evolve over the years? Like you mentioned earlier, mental health, I mean, it was always there, but it wasn't as vocal as it is now.
So we definitely have seen a huge shift. And I'd like to say, especially in Quebec, that we've been instrumental in bringing talking about mental health to the forefront. I own the clinic with my husband. He's a child and adolescent psychologist, so he's my partner in
Mm,
crime. And we definitely have seen a willingness for people to improve the idea of getting support for themselves. So whether it's for their child or their couple relationship or for themselves, we're definitely seeing a trend where people are realizing that they don't have to struggle in silence anymore, that there is support, whether it's a clinic like ours, whether it's another clinic, whether it's a family doctor.
mm-hmm.
So we have definitely seen an improvement, and it shows even in the way we built our practice. 20 years ago, it was just my husband and I on the team. We were just the two of us. And now we have a team of over 55 therapists.
Oh,
So
wow. Congratulations to that.
thank you. But that is because I think people are recognizing and more open to receiving help and support. So
Right.
we've been able to grow the team based on the need in the community, which has been,
Absolutely.
I'm glad to be able to support them.
Oh, I like that. Open to receive.
Definitely.
Many people struggle. The next question is I have is many people struggle with self-compassion and self-worth. What are small steps they can take to nurture these qualities? What would you suggest?
So that's my little baby, that is like my pride and joy in the work that I do. And just for people who are listening who might not even know what self compassion is,
Mm-hmm.
it's the idea of talking to yourself with the same love and kindness that you would actually speak to someone that you love. So, my number one thing is talking kindly to yourself, celebrating your wins, cheering yourself on, even when the win is that tiny. And the
Yes.
biggest recommendation that I say to my clients is if you wouldn't speak it to your best friend or your mom or your sister, then you're not allowed to say it to yourself. And that's like my little mantra in my sessions with my clients when I work on self-compassion.
I like that. That's nice. It's true. When you wake up in the morning, especially the positive people that are happy and joyous, and you're always giving compliments to others, start with you,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And the flip side goes if you wake up in the morning and you don't like the way you look, you didn't sleep well, you're not feeling good in your body, that negative self-talk that we say to
Well,
ourselves,
it's gonna
sometimes it
ripple,
becomes exactly, and we reinforce it.
right?
So if we can kind of turn it around and make sure that even when we're feeling at our lowest, we don't become self-deprecating and hurt ourselves, we will in turn be happier people and more purposeful when we talk more kindly to ourselves.
Good. Yes, absolutely. Okay, next question, which I think a lot of listeners are waiting for. I think I attracted a lot of people when I said we're going to be talking about menopause. And I have to be honest, I didn't even know there's certified menopause yeah, health providers out there. So I'm like, wow, that's interesting. So you're a certified menopause mental health provider. How
Yes.
does menopause impact mental health? And what are some ways women can navigate this phase with confidence?
So, firstly, when you were reached out to me about coming on and talking about menopause, my heart soared because, it's still unfortunately taboo. A lot of people are not talking about it. And the fact that you are willing to push the envelope and talk about something as important as menopause was very, very, I
Yes,
was jumped on the opportunity
I
because
am. Not only to support me, help me, but my entourage in the community.
absolutely. And, I'm of the philosophy that any woman that is lucky enough to go through menopause needs to learn how to navigate it. It means if you're going through menopause, you've lived a certain amount of time, you've survived life, and it's a really positive. So, this negative talk about, oh, menopause, that's not my frame of mind. I feel blessed to have age to this part of my life that I could navigate menopause and do it with the best tools and supports that I possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, I chose to do the training. I have been working with women dealing with menopause for many years and have been going through my own perimenopausal journey the last couple of years. And I found it very challenging. I just, from a personal point of view, from being able to support my clientele, and we're seeing, I think there's a philosophy that, well, menopause is hot flashes,
Mm-hmm.
and yes, that's one aspect of it, but it affects our libido, it affects our mood, it makes us have a foggy brain, it affects our joints, it affects our sleep, our eating, how much we can lift at the gym. Like, it affects a million aspects of our life as well as our mental health. And a lot of women were coming in perimenopausal, menopausal stage, and expressing that they were feeling anxiety or depression, sadness, anger, frustration, things that they had never really experienced. And then all of a sudden, in their 40s or 50s, all of a sudden it came kind of rushing in. And it's very important to look at the fact that the change in hormones also affects our mood.
Right, of course.
And a lot of
Yeah, it's a lot of
women think,
changes. It's like mental, it's hormones, it's physical, it's
yeah,
accepting all this shift and transition and how to go about it, right? The challenges the
absolutely.
woman faced during this transition. So is this what you help with?
Absolutely. It's a mixture of, like, my sessions are probably, as a therapist, I'm an action oriented person in life, and I
Mhm.
am in therapy. So I would say my sessions are a mixture of, like, kind of a psychoeducation where I'm explaining to people and nurturing them and validating and understanding, but also helping them to navigate, helping them to see what tools are out there and what type of support. And I kind of, especially with my perimenopausal, menopausal clients, that's kind of the approach. It's a mixture of helping them feel better, but also helping with them navigate and providing them with tools in order to support them.
Mm, that's great. That's good to know. They also lose their sense of loss or even their identity,
I,
their shift during this menopause.
So it's
It's
very interesting. I just read a study where they were talking about the fact that there's a lot of infidelity and marital affairs happening for women. They're feeling it from their partner between the ages of 45 and 55.
mm,
And what I see in my couples therapy is women, their libido is not there, their sex drive is not there, they're not feeling attractive, they're not feeling connected, they're not feeling they can communicate. And then what ends up happening is their partner internalizes that as rejection. My wife is not attracted to me
right,
anymore. She's
right.
not really interested in sex. She's not. But the truth is, there's a lot going on in our bodies. And, it's really about talking openly and getting the support we need, because we should not be silenced like this. We need to have a voice.
Absolutely. So are you suggesting that therapy for family or for couples would be supportive for a woman going through menopause?
I love that. And yes, I do. My husband, I have three children. Two of them are young adult boys,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone from me has been very educated about what is happening to my body, what is happening in my brain, what I am experiencing. And it's very important for us to have a support system and an entourage
Right.
of people who are rallying behind us and understand it, because it's really hard to understand. I mean, if I go back 10 years and I'm a woman, I'm a psychotherapist, I'm a very knowledgeable human being, I didn't even know what to expect and anticipate until I actually walked the walk personally for myself. So if we could get our family members, whether they're our children, our partners, our colleagues even, to understand a little bit better what we are going through, it will
Mm,
make, first of all, we'll feel better supported and validated, and it'll alleviate a lot of the guilt and heaviness that a lot of women feel when they're going through this journey and don't feel support from their loved ones.
absolutely. Because there's a lot of myths out there too. They think it's
Absolutely.
just, oh, she's hot flashes. No, it's more than hot
Exactly.
flashes. And
And
it's
and
not necessarily that every woman will get hot flashes too.
Exactly. And I love that. I think that I'll have women come in to see me, and they'll express things, and I'll say, have you ever gone to your doctor? Oh, no, I'm not getting any hot flashes. And I say, well, hot flash is just one little aspect. You seem to have 20 other of the qualifications that might mean you're going through some perimenopausal symptoms. We seem
Right.
to focus on this hot flash thing, which again is uncomfortable, but it's not the main one. There's a million things that we experience. So I think,
Absolutely. Hmm.
so I love that women go through all different things, and it's really about educating ourselves.
That's right. That's right. So other than a therapist, do you suggest, there's a test that you do, right? To see your
So
hormone
there
levels?
are different hormone level tests. I always recommend that clients either go see their family doctor, their gynecologist. There's some wonderful clinics that we even have in Montreal that specialize in perimenopause and menopause. Understanding what's happening with the blood tests sometimes will give us a better indication of where we are with regards to the process. But
Okay.
I'm a really big believer of also listening to your body and trusting your gut, and when you feel something is happening differently or something doesn't feel right. Like, one of my characteristics was I was having a lot of hair loss. I have very
Okay.
thick hair, and all of a sudden I was, touching my hair, and I was having like lots of hair come out. And, I went to do some blood tests, and my doctor said, yeah, this is part of your perimenopausal journey. I hadn't even put the two and two together. So I
Mhm.
think it's when, if you feel like something is off with your body, and the blood tests are wonderful, but even if it's something that can't be detected with a blood test, if you're not feeling you, that's
Mhm.
a really good indicator that going to have an appointment with a family doctor or gyno might be interesting for you,
Right.
just to see what more could be going on.
Okay. I see. So it would be a little bit of both.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because, even things like sleep, a lot of women struggle with their sleep when they're going through perimenopause and
Hmm.
menopause. And, that might not be picked up in a blood test, but it is
That's right.
definitely one of the top indicators that a lot of women will experience. So, if there's something that just feels off, go and investigate. Go
Right.
check, ask some
Yes, and
questions.
listen to your body. It doesn't come with a manual of a checklist, right?
Exactly, exactly. I wish it did.
I
That would make our,
Yes,
our
just
journeys a lot
instead of
easier.
guessing. And in what ways can lifestyle changes such as diet, exercise, mindfulness supporting women's mental health during menopause? So
So that's a
what would you
very, very good question. Again, I'm not a doctor, but in the work that I do and in my training and in the research that I've done, we know that, you know, sleeping is very, very important. It helps us with our mood, it helps us to get rested. Alcohol and drug consumption in moderation. I'm not one to judge and say cut it out completely, but we know that high levels of alcohol, high
Mhm.
levels of different types of drugs really exacerbate symptoms. Exercise is wonderful. I just did a menopause workshop, and we had a personal trainer there. It
Mm,
seems that weight training, heavy training is really the trend to build muscle mass and make us stronger and steady on our feet. Definitely mindfulness, meditating, yoga, calmness, walking, journaling,
breathing.
breathing. These are things that, we don't always incorporate into our daily life,
That's
but the
right.
impact when we do them are so significant, and we don't need to do much. You can be in a staff meeting with your team and do a breathing exercise, and no one would even know that you're doing it, but it could definitely ground you and help you feel better. So I'm a
Exactly.
big believer of that.
Exactly. Well, I think you just answered my next question. It was if you could give one key message to a woman currently navigating menopause, what would it be?
So I'm going to give you another answer since I gave this
Good.
answer before. But
Well,
my
you beat
my
me to
main
it.
but my main recommendation is to be your own advocate. We need to advocate for ourselves. You might go see many doctors. You might go to the gym and get a personal trainer. You might have a dietitian or a naturopath. And if you do not feel like that person is getting you or meeting your needs, or that you're accomplishing the goals that you want to, advocate for yourself, because everybody is different. Like you said, Andrea, there's no recipe or
No.
manual for how to navigate. So even the professionals are doing the best they can, but they don't know your body. And if you're not feeling good with a treatment plan or the advice a doctor gave you, advocate, because the biggest thing we're seeing, and I think the trend is changing a little bit, but
Hmm.
it's that it's normal. What you're going through is normal. You're going to have this for 8 or 10 years. I don't want anyone to tell anyone that suffering and struggling is normal.
No, of course not. And you shouldn't accept it as a woman. You go back to saying you need to know what you're worth it. You don't
Yes.
just go with the taboo and the stigma that it's normal and you have to live with it for 6 to 8 years.
So if
Absolutely.
listeners can leave with one thing today, it's to keep having a voice and keep advocating. Because if this was for someone else, if we were advocating for our child or
Hmm.
for our elderly parent, we would go the full 9 yards and we would do it. But there's just something that happens when as women, when we're advocating for ourselves, that we sometimes put our needs last. And I want people to leave today knowing that advocating for yourself, it's going to make you not only better for you, but you're going to be mentoring really great behaviors for your children, for your family. Advocating is to me, it's the best recipe for success.
Amazing. Wonderful. My God, the time is running. So, one more question. This is too
Absolutely.
exciting. I have so much to talk about. So, if you could give your younger self one piece of advice about life and self-love, what would it be?
So I would tell myself to remember to stop and smell the flowers, to
Mhm.
slow down, to be more in the moment. I am a hustler. I am a go getter. I am a mover and a groover. And if I could go back and tell my teenage self to slow down, to stop and really appreciate some of those moments that are fleeting, that just move fast, um, and turn back time a little bit, that would be my best advice I would give myself.
Oh,
And I try to do that now. So even though I'm 53
mhm.
and it's a
You
little bit
look
later in
great.
life to start practicing. Thank you. But this is what I've learned to do now. And I wish I could have told myself that 30 years ago.
Yes, yeah, we were, when you're young, you have a drive and we don't stop and smell the flowers like you said. So to be present, that's a great way
Yes.
of what a great message you're giving.
Thank
I'm
you.
a big believer in that as well. So if anybody wants to reach out to you, they look up the West Island Therapy
Yes.
Clinic,
So
right?
they can look us up online. We are westislandtherapycenter.com. They can send us an email. We'll get back to you. And the nice thing is we're open 7 days a week, and we offer
Oh,
both in-person and virtual sessions. So even for busy people that can't come in for a session, we can always make it work virtually.
wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much,
Thank
Lisa.
you.
And to
Thank you.
finish this beautiful podcast, why don't we all take a deep breath? How about
I would
that?
love it.
All
Okay.
right.
So I'm gonna lead it. You take a deep breath in And exhale. And ground yourself. And today, start smelling the flowers.
Let's do it. Let's smell the flowers. Thank you,
Thanks for
everyone.
everything you're doing, Andrea. It's honestly, it's very meaningful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone.
Thank you,
Bye.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.